Good morning. Welcome to the Coco Show. I am so very honored that you could join me on this fine day. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please join me for just a small prayer, please? I wanna say the Serenity Prayer because I do love that prayer and how it brings me peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we can, please bow thy heads. Unless, of course, you're driving, then maybe it's not such a good idea. But you're smart, and I'm sure you'll make a fine, good decision. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about something today. I want to talk about brotherly love. Not necessarily just for your brother, your actual blood brother, but for all the humans in your life, all of your fellow human beings just trying to make it in this time, in this society, this place we call home. So, sometimes we can have resentments. Resentments can destroy us. Resentments can make us eat our own souls. It is drinking the poison and hoping someone else dies from it. It is insidious. It's disgusting. So we must rid ourselves of resentment, which also happens to be one of the most difficult things that a human can do, in my experience. I mean, it was and is still one of the most difficult things. I think that it helps to have the transcendent thought of what our universe really is, and that's the dispersion of energy. And when we can understand that we are but energy just trying to make it, and sometimes, we can be deceivious, we can be selfish. All humans are. It is the only way we can live, the only way we can spread our seed to the corners of this Big Bang. So how do we become less resentful? This is the question. How does this happen? Well, in a 12-step program, this would be step 8. Now you don't forgive, right? We need to understand that forgiveness, we need to transcend this thought of forgiveness. No, it's not forgiveness. It is, I was wrong. It was, I made some mistakes because I was naive. I was a naive human. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But now I am ready to be a better human. And I acknowledge that I was wrong, and I apologize for everything I have done. Now, of course, you can do this with words. You can actually say this to someone, but really, if you want to get the juice, you want to get the meaningfulness of it. You want to go deep with it. Words, for me personally, it became nothing. I said this and said that, but I did something else, and lie and deceive and live upon my selfish motives. But now, in a life of recovery, of daily growth, of daily amends, of reprieving myself of sinful activities, to leave that in the past, to leave what belongs in the past, and to move forward, I see that the living amends, the living the truth, to continually finding and seeking the light. To do this on a daily basis is incredible. It is beautiful. But don't take my words for it, ladies and gentlemen. I I do hope you can also enjoy one of these fruits of life. I believe that this is a good thing. Now, I do digress. I apologize. I do that occasionally. But let me please, oh please, oh please, talk about my resentment story. Maybe you can draw upon it, or learn from it, or do whatever you want with. Maybe it'll just entertain you, because it is pretty entertaining. I mean, it's kind of sad and, pathetic, but that's my life at sometimes, and especially in the past, not necessarily nowadays. But again, I digress. Let's get into it. Rewind. I'm 24 years old, and I have made the majority of my life decisions based off of fear. Now, I could get into it. I can get into my childhood and how I maybe developed some of these neuroses, some of these ways of thinking, this deprivation thinking, always having to, suppress the creativity and go for what is safe. My mother was, bless her heart, a wonderful woman and an immigrant from a country that, it wasn't bathing in resources, so they were very, and my grandparents, they were around during World War II. They had to evacuate the countries, come and move to South America. So my mom's deprivation thinking was transferred onto me. Now, you call it what you may, her experiences, her entire outlook on life was transferred on to me, along with my father. My wonderful father, I love him, full of love, but he was my father was part of the Nevada foster care system. And so he developed a certain way as well. And because of this, they raised me in a certain way that maybe, and of course it's equally me, it is entirely my fault. I was naive. I didn't know what was happening or what to do or anything like that. But so at the age of 24, I've been a paramedic at this point for 6 years, hated my job, did not enjoy my life, and I would go and try to escape the reality. I would go hang out with friends. I would try to leave this planet and go to another planet that was more fun, more interesting, better, I thought, somehow. And so it was, I would go to these clubs, I would go out, I would go with friends, I would leave, I would drink ferociously, I would try to hit on girls and try to get laid, of course, and that rarely happened. What a waste of time. There are much better ways to get laid nowadays, I have discovered in my later 20s now. It took me a long time to realize that. I thought you just go to the club and, then you could get love. And of course I had this failed relationship from high school, I remember that. And man, I was placed in the friend zone and I didn't realize she was, just talking to me, and we were just in the friend zone. And so, but what I'm getting to is it fucked me up psychologically. It messed me up. I felt hurt. I felt deprived. I felt like I needed to be loved, that I was worthless if I wasn't getting love. So I would seek love in all the wrong places with all the wrong people. And it put me in situations that were just unhealthy, that just led to an accumulation of more neurologically pathogenic issues. And so I continued down this road. Now, at the age of 24, it all came to a climax when I was drunk out of my mind and made a sequence of actions that resulted in a devastating climax. I ran into a dark ledge, highly intoxicated. And I shattered my leg. I shattered it into a million pieces. Now, later on in the hospital, they had to rebuild it using cadaver bone. It was a very painful procedure, of course, afterwards for the next few years until this very day. It has been tremendously painful. Now, my life has gone through an incredible roller coaster of dealing with chronic pain. It's interesting. It's very hard to describe it to someone that does not have a chronic pain issue, especially at this level. I know there are many worse levels than mine, but this arthritis, this decompromisation of the joint has been an incredibly large change in my life. And when I was younger, when I was just initially going through this, it was so devastating. It was such a tragedy on my life. I did not know how to handle the pain, and I was still going through this path where I was just making decisions based off of fear. Now, eventually this path led me to incomprehensible demoralization. It brought me down to the very depths of Hades, and I have witnessed myself contemplating my very own existence, wondering if maybe I should just leave this world, if I should just check out. Maybe that would be better than this suffocation, than this pain, than this constant seeking for escape, for instantaneous pleasures, for the short term. Maybe this would be better than truth, than light. And of course, at that time, what was truth, what was light? I did not know of these things. I was not taught that these things were out there. I was raised on American consumerism. I didn't know anything, basing all of my decisions on fear of rejection, fear of financial insecurity, fear of being alone in this big world. I definitely couldn't take care of myself. I remember I was lost. My meaning of life slowly dwindled away. I mean, mainly because it was due on what finances were. My happiness was based on my monetary net worth. And ladies and gentlemen, that should never be the case. Don't ever do that. You are much more than your money. You are your actions. You are what you exude and value, which can absolutely lead to finances, right? So it can be a parameter, but at that time I was lost and I had nothing to give, so I, of course, had nothing to get. But back to what I was nothing. I was there, just existing. I could not tolerate it anymore. I could not take it anymore. I just could not do it. And out of the blue, an angel appeared. Out of the blue, a friend called me. Now, this particular friend was what I had remembered a few years before, an absolute disgrace to society. I mean, he was disgusting. He was just a ransacked alcoholic, victim of the world, victim of his own identity, victim of his past. But that's not who called me. I mean, yes, it was his physical self. He was there, but he was someone else. He was calm. He was coherent. He was well. And I just could not believe it. I was asking myself, who is this man? I do not know who this man. I mean, yes, I grew up with him. Yes, he was my best friend for years, but now this person is different. This person is a good human. That one person I knew before was not a good human. Anyway, I was going through my own shit, and he suggested I go with him to a meeting, a place at the church, and I was at the point where I did not care. I was at a point of just pure desperation. I didn't know. I was giving up. I did not know. And he brought me to this group, and it changed my life. I think I was 26 years old, so from 24 to 26 I was on an incline of mess, and I think maybe I was, yeah, because I'm 29 now, yeah, I was 26 when I got in the rooms, and it changed me. It showed me truth. It showed me vulnerability. It showed me what the human condition is and how spirituality can surpass the human condition. It can surpass the physical realm. It can surpass the limitations that we place upon ourselves. And it can be a beautiful thing. There are many things that are part of this journey of self-recovery and growth and being part of something larger than yourself, but one of them is, of course, to say that, to have the humility, to build the humility to surrender and bow your head and say, I was wrong and I am sorry, and I will be on this path of living amends to continually try to better oneself. And this is the journey. This is the journey, and beautiful things can happen. Beautiful creations can occur. Beautiful paths can open up, and relationships can be built. But we must acknowledge that we were wrong. And so, like I said in the beginning of this story, it is not I am sorry, it is I forgive, and here are my actions to amend the devastating things we have done in the past, to be a better human, to trudge forth with the flame of goodness. And I think that will wrap up our talk for today. Thanks again for coming and hanging out with me. It was nice. I hope you can take a little tidbit of what you got here and apply it to your daily activity. Remember, everyone, we live on a daily basis, so let's stay in the moment, let's stay in the present, and grow together.